Hey guys, Ryan here. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about what I think are the best sniper supports for Rebirth Island. I hope you guys enjoy this video. If you do, you guys don't have to like it, you don't have to subscribe. I just want to say thank you for watching, and let's get into it. The very first gun we're going to talk about is going to be the Owen gun. I'm going to end up keeping this section pretty short because the Owen gun is really a personal preference type of thing. If you look at the stats, if you just overall use it and you just look at the damage and everything about it, there's a reason why it's outright one of the best sniper supports and best SMGs in the game. However, some people really just don't like the gun. They don't like the way it feels. They don't like the slow rate of fire. They don't like the recoil, the way it takes up half of their screen. And that's why at the end of the day, it's really just going to come down to personal preference. The gun is great. I highly recommend using it if you enjoy it. But if you don't feel pressure to use it, and maybe consider using some of the other options I'm going to talk about coming up here soon. And speaking of those other options, at number 2, we're going to have the CX9. Now, this is one of my favorite sniper supports in the game because it's really unique. What separates this from the other sniper supports is its insane hipfire accuracy and just the fact that it's a modern warfare gun. I rarely see anyone using this gun, and I don't understand why. It has good damage up close, it has good damage in the mid-range, it has great hipfire, it has pretty good mobility. It's not the best mobility, but it's pretty good. And overall, the recoil is extremely easy to control in comparison to a lot of other guns. When I use the CX9, I'm never thinking to myself, oh man, I wish I was running something else. I know that kind of sounds like sarcastic, but there are truly some guns when I'm using it, sometimes like with the Cooper carbine. I really wish instead I was using the Owen gun for that close range damage between 0 and 10 meters. I never really feel like that's a worry with the CX9. I promise if you guys give this gun a go, you're going to really enjoy it, and I just don't think many people have actually given it a fair shot. In the same way that the CX9 was a unique sniper support, this next option at number 3, the Volks, is very similar. What makes this gun stand out is its outright ridiculous strafe speed. You can just move like you're essentially sprinting while just ADS moving left and right. I'm going to put the build at the very end like I did at the CX9, and that's where you can get the build, and I promise if you try it, you're just going to demolish. The damage isn't too insane, so you are going to die sometimes to people who are running guns with quicker time to kills, but you usually can use the strafe speed to beat them and cause them to miss bullets. So if you're someone who has good movement and you know how to just strafe around and you don't want to do the fancy bunny hops or whatever, this is a perfect substitution. You can just get good movement by strafing around ADS and you have a pretty decent time to kill. I really enjoy this gun, but I do need to point out that the recoil is a little iffy for some people, especially when you get into more of the mid-range, and that's where I do think it's perfectly suited for Rebirth. Of course, you can add some different attachments to give it better recoil control, but that may come at the cost of giving up your strafe speed, and that's the real issue. Overall though, I'd really recommend trying this because this is outright one of the most fun guns I've used in a long time, and I think you're going to feel similarly if you use it. So anyways, this is going to lead me into my 4th option, and this is going to be the LAPA. Now the LAPA might actually be my favorite option from this entire list. What separates the LAPA from almost every other gun on this list is nothing. It really does nothing that insane. It doesn't have the greatest damage, it doesn't have the best mid-range damage, it doesn't have the easiest recoil to control, it doesn't have the best mobility. But what it does have is almost the perfect combination and mixture of all of those things I just described. And that's what makes it so good. When I use the LAPA, I just float. I don't know how to describe it. A lot of guns you have to put a lot of thought into, like the Owen gun. The recoil is very intense, the rate of fire is kind of slow, so you have to be very aware of it. With something like the CX9, you're focused on using the hip fire and things like that. With the LAPA, I'm just focused on playing. I'm just running around, I'm just using it. I use it close range, I use it in the mid range, I use it for whatever I need. It feels plenty mobile enough, the recoil is easy to control, and it just feels like a great gun. When I think of almost the prototypical sniper support for Rebirth Island, I think the very first thought I'm going to have is just going to instantly go to the LAPA. The LAPA to me is exactly the sniper support most people are going to want to use on this map. I don't think it's exactly the best, and I don't think it's perfect for every person, and that's why I have a lot of options listed before it, because a lot of those, they're more personal preference. But I do think the LAPA is kind of the one that almost every person could pick up from this list and they would enjoy it. I'm not saying it's perfect, but if you do give it a go, I do think you're going to inevitably enjoy it, and I really recommend it. So moving on from the LAPA, in this last spot, we're going to have a duo with the Cooper Carbine and the FFAR. I have two honorable mentions I'm going to talk about after these, but let's talk about this Cooper and FFAR situation. So the reason I have these split is because I feel like they fit a similar role, and it's just going to kind of depend on your playstyle. I think the Cooper Carbine is the best for people who are more conservative and are more engaging in mid-range gunfights, and I think something like the FFAR is going to be a little better when you're talking about gunfights in the close range. The FFAR has really good strafe speed, it's a really fun gun to use overall, and I really enjoy it, but the Cooper Carbine is going to be a little better in the mid-range because of the easy to control recoil. That's the main thing about the Cooper Carbine versus the FFAR, is that's where the dynamic kind of comes in. The Cooper actually does have slightly better damage, but it doesn't have the ridiculous mobility that the FFAR does, and that's something you have to really consider. Which one is going to more fit your playstyle and going to be better for you as an individual? Overall, I really enjoy the Cooper though, and I think the Cooper is the most reliable sniper support in the entire game. I think it's just the easiest to control. It is the easiest recoil. The damage is solid. The damage is good in the mid-range. It's nothing insane. The damage is outright just nothing crazy. But when you just combine it with all of those factors, that's what makes it stand out. The FFAR, on the other hand, has one of the best damages for an AR sniper support in the entire game, but it also comes with really good mobility for an assault rifle, and that's really underrated when you're talking about something like Rebirth Island. Mobility is king on a small map like this, and that's what the FFAR does extremely well. So now let's move on to the two honorable mentions, the Bullfrog and AS44. I really struggled not putting these on this list because they're both so good and I really want to talk about them. However, in the case of the Bullfrog, I'm doing an entire video on it, or maybe I already have done it. I'm going on vacation, so some of these videos are made before I go on the vacation, and I'm not sure of the upload schedule, but I have an entire video dedicated to the Bullfrog because I like it that much, and I really want to talk about it, and I even talk about it as a sniper support in that video. So this is where I'm going to mainly be talking about the AS44, but I do want to give a quick shout out to the Bullfrog. The thing with the AS44 is that the kick is ridiculous, but I promise guys, if you just build it correctly, and I'm going to have the build in this video, you are going to be blown away. The kick is really not that bad between 0 and 10 meters, and that's the main distance you're going to have a lot of your gunfights in Rebirth, and the damage is just outright absurd. I am loving the AS44 as a close range sniper support, but I have to just warn you guys of how bad it is in the mid range. It's not atrocious, it's not the worst, but compared to a lot of these options, it's really not that good. I'm going to start wrapping this video up, and I just want to take this moment to say thank you to everyone who's helped me get to the point where I can actually have ads on my channel. I am making money from YouTube, and that is absolutely crazy. When I started this channel a year and a couple months ago, I never thought I'd actually be making money from it, and I owe it all to you guys and every single person who supported me on this journey. I can't thank you guys enough. And I really cannot wait to see where we're at in a year with Warzone 2, Modern Warfare 2, and everything like that. I'm so appreciative of you guys, and I just hope one day I can figure out a way to pay it back. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, you guys don't have to like, you don't have to subscribe. I just want to say thank you for watching, and I hope you have a good day. It's been Ryan. Peace.